What is good, motherfuckers? How are you all today? Let me just open this beer here. This is like a hard beer to open. This is one of them Japanese shits because I'm multicultural as fuck, and I just got done watching some Radiance shit, and they're all about the Japanese shit. So got me in the mood for a Japanese brew. You know what I'm saying? Hello, everybody. Welcome, one and all, to this wonderful show that I have for you today. I am Tard Candelius, the man of STEELBOOK, and I'm here to tell you about some shit that Arrow dropped. And um, I don't really want to, but I'm going to anyway. Holler at you about these Arrow releases for February of 2025. Arrow just had the extreme misfortune of announcing their February release slate about 12 hours after Vinegar Syndrome fucked everybody's wife raw dog. I'm honestly a little sad for Arrow. They should have made an exception this time around and announced their releases at the start of the week instead of waiting for Friday, because that was Black Friday, and that was like, Vinegar Syndrome was just sitting there staring at Arrow like that image of the black dude, the naked black dude sitting on the edge of the bed. That was Vinegar Syndrome. That was Vinegar Syndrome. For you guys out there who didn't know which image I was talking about, that's in your fucking head now. I'm going to get so many thumbs down on this fucking video for showing that. I covered up the wee-wee, though, so that photo is out there with an uncovered wee-wee. You can see his penis if you want to. That's up to you. But I'm a little sad for Arrow because, they actually have some pretty decent releases lined up for February of 25. It's just unfortunate that they happened to drop those like right after Arrow released the motherfucking Keep on 4K. It's just bad timing. So the UK, not America, not the US, but the UK is getting a very interesting release. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 on 4K. It's a 4K release for Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and this is getting like the full Arrow Deluxe hard box with the perfect bound book treatment. So this is going to be a very nice release. It's a bit of an upgrade over the standard Blu-ray that Arrow released a few years ago. Arrow did release Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 on Blu-ray several years ago, and they just did the regular, Arrow like slipcover with a little booklet thing back then, and then Vinegar Syndrome came out and did the 4K of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the United States, and we all know how that sold. It's gone. Good luck getting that. So this is actually really good news for folks who, if you missed the Vinegar Syndrome Special Edition, the U.S. Domestic Special Edition, if you missed that, but you still want a deluxe version, then look no further than this release right here. It's a 4K UHD, so who cares that it's a UK release? It's not locked. You're going to be able to play it on a North American 4K Blu-ray player. So what you wanting about? If you were patient and you didn't buy the damn thing from a scalper on the internet for $200, then here you go. Here's your opportunity for roughly $45. You can go over to Orbit or Diabolic. You guys could cop this film. So I've additionally heard, this is rumor that I've heard from reading materials online. Sometimes my wife comes into the room and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're not looking at porn? You're on the computer, but you're not, like, there's nobody fucking on your screen right now. It's just a bunch of texts. It's a bunch of fucking words. You reading about Blu-rays or some shit? Yeah, honey, I'll look at porn in a minute. Let me finish reading about 4Ks. Anyway, I read that Arrow's version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 will feature Dolby Vision, which is not present on the Vinegar Syndrome 4K release. So if you're like a Dolby Vision person, if that's something that's important to you, that could be a beneficial selling point to this particular release. So I got to say, like the release I'm most interested in February 25 coming from Arrow is this Texas Chainsaw Massacre release, because I was not able to purchase the Vinegar Syndrome one during that rad sale. I saw it come and go in a blink, and so this is kind of a cool alternative for me. Most of the extras seem to be the same. So I looked at the extras for the Vinegar Syndrome release, and then I looked at the special features for the Arrow release of TCM2, and they're almost identical. There's only one commentary that is missing from Arrow's version. So it sounds like there was a commentary that Vinegar Syndrome did for their release. There's still 3 commentaries on the Arrow release, though. So, like, the Vinegar Syndrome has 4 commentaries, the Arrow release has 3. That's still 3 commentaries. Somebody try to fucking convince me that you're actually going to watch all 4 commentaries too. Like, you're not even going to watch the 3 that Arrow's giving you. I know you're not, you son of a bitch. You're going to watch 1 commentary at the absolute most, and don't even fucking lie to me. Don't even bother leaving me a comment below, lying to me, to my face, in broad daylight, lying to me that you're going to watch all 4 commentaries. I don't believe that you will. I don't believe it. You're going to have to document it somehow and prove it to me, because I do not believe you're going to watch 4 fucking commentaries. You're not going to do it. One of the other UK only releases is Life Force on 4K. We already got this from Scream Factory, so like, unless you're a huge Arrow fanboy, you should be fine with the Scream Factory release. I'm sure Scream Factory is going to do a 4K Steelbook in another year, maybe 2 years. 25, 26, 2026. Yeah, that's the year we get a Life Force 4K Steelbook, if not sooner. The UK is also getting Last Stop in Yuma County on Blu-ray. This is a Blu-ray, probably going to be region locked too. So, this one you may need a little bit of extra hardware for. It's a 2023 film. It's actually quite a contemporary, modern day, very recent film. But it obviously, as you can see from the artwork and marketing here, that it has this very retro sensibility, kind of very 50s and 60s era artwork to it, which is kind of cool. I gotta hand it to him. If you're gonna do, a western, it actually looks like it might be a period piece as well, set in that 50s or 60s era. Um, and so that's like a cool. I like the design. This film, Last Stop in Yuma County, does have a comparatively more basic North American release. So there is a Blu-ray available for the North American market, but it's not quite as fancy as this. It doesn't have a fancy slipcover. It doesn't have a booklet with essays on the film, and it probably does not have all of the special features that Arrow will be providing. So if you're a big fan of this one, this is not a film that I have seen yet, but I probably will check it out. I like the design and the sensibilities of it, so I'll give it a shot. Um, if you're a big fan though of this film, then you might want to get a region-free Blu-ray player, an all-region Blu-ray player, or something like the Panasonic UB820 that will play a region B disc. If you hit a button a few times on the remote, it's quite easy. It'll still play a region B or region 2 disc, depending on what format you're using. So, you know, that way you can avail yourself of this nice release, because it looks good if you're a fan of this film. That's it for the UK shit. Again, it's like, it's just sort of like a wet lesbian fart compared to what Vinegar Syndrome dropped on us on Thursday night / Friday morning at fucking 12:01. It's just like a wet lesbian fart of an Arrow release. I'm so sorry. I don't know why a lesbian fart is funnier than a heterosexual lady fart. I don't. Maybe heterosexual lady fart is just too many syllables, and like wet lesbian fart is just the perfect amount of syllables. But like wet heterosexual lady fart is just too many. It's like you gotta stop. It doesn't roll off the tongue. I'm not picking on lesbians. I prefer lesbians. Cruising is getting a inevitable 4K upgrade, but this is a real upgrade. This isn't just a format upgrade, as you can see from the photographs here. As with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Arrow had previously released Cruising in kind of a basic, just little box, slipcover, small booklet, kind of, the sort of basic. Like, Arrow has sort of two ways that they do limited editions. They have like the deluxe box that's like a hard box. It comes with a fatter book that's like 80 to 100 pages. And their other limited editions are just like an O card / slipcase. There's a smaller booklet. Sometimes there's a poster and art cards. But it's a comparatively smaller scale release. It's not quite all the bells and whistles. So for this 4K upgrade, they're actually upgrading the packaging as well, which I appreciate. A lot of what Arrow has been doing in recent years which we saw with like the Elvira release, the Last Starfighter release. Those are two that come quickly to mind, where they had released the Blu-ray some years earlier, 2017, 2018, and then in 2024 they saw fit to re-release the thing on 4K, and it's really the same. I mean, it's just there's nothing different to it. The artwork's the same, the contents are the same, all of the special features are the same, and it feels a little bit like, I don't know, kind of like a low effort upgrade. It's really just a format upgrade. You're just buying the movie on 4K, but it comes with all the same crap. Um, with Cruising here, at least they're taking what was kind of a more basic sort of streamlined special edition, and they are bumping it up to give it like this nice fat hard box release that I think is probably a little bit more befitting of a William Friedkin release. I mean, let's not forget, Friedkin is responsible for some legendary, absolutely legendary films, Academy Award winning films, French Connection, The Exorcist, the original Exorcist. To Live and Die in LA is his masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. So, and feel free to argue with me below on that one, but good luck convincing me. To Live and Die in LA, I think is Friedkin's his masterpiece for sure. And so, a Friedkin film, I think, deserves the kind of treatment that Cruising is now getting now that it's coming to 4K. There's a 120-page book here, along with some new special features too. So, where a lot of their 4K upgrades, like the Elvira upgrade, for instance, because that's the most recent one that I purchased, that upgrade is really no different than the Blu-ray. It's just, it's a enhanced format disc. Um, you get more pixels on the film itself, but if I already owned that one on Blu-ray, I would probably not have bought the 4K. I got a good deal on a 4K too, man. I got like $28 for a brand new Arrow 4K. It's not a terrible deal. So on paper, Cruising is a good movie. As I mentioned, it's a William Friedkin film. It stars Al Pacino. So again, we're taking a fairly legendary director, a guy whose output is pretty darn good, and then Al Pacino, an absolute fucking legend. So really, like on paper, this should be a really incredible film. It's taken some heat even at the time of release, like 1981, I think it's 80, 81, early 80s. I mean, even in the early 80s, this was taking heat from like civil rights, gay rights activists and movements that were boycotting the film because they thought that it might shed a negative light on gay community, because it does have that as like a subplot, like Al Pacino's going undercover dressed like a village person to try and find some killer, root him out of the gay bars or whatever. So, I mean, even at the time, historically, like 40 years ago, there was a little bit of a scandal. I mean, these days, that's a way more touchy subject. Like, the fact that we're getting a pretty nice release of this might be actually kind of cool. And so, this is a rare upgrade from Arrow that actually feels like an upgrade. Cruising really ought to be more exciting than it is. I ought to be more excited for February, because this is, for me, Friedkin. I'm a fan of Friedkin, and this will be I will buy this very close to release, if not on release day. I'm not going to let this one sell out. I'm going to cop this one pretty quick. I'm just not super excited about it, because it's like I just blew my whole fucking wad. I'm like, I bought a lot of Vinegar Syndrome films. I didn't just buy the Keep. I'm fucking Randy in South Park, just barely conscious in his chair, covered with semen from his covered with his own ejaculate, just sprayed across the room. That's me. Like after, I literally, like in front of the computer too. Like I did my Black Friday Vinegar Syndrome shopping. I'm, exploded all over the room with my fluids, and then the cops were called, and it's like I don't have anything left for Arrow. Arrow is also putting out A Certain Killer and A Killer's Key on Blu-ray. This is a nice little double feature of a pair of Japanese films from 1967. I just want to say, when is the last month Arrow didn't announce a release of a Japanese film? These motherfuckers. I mean, yeah, they do some Italian films from time to time. They've put out some giallo. I don't know, man. Did they put out any Swedish film? any Eisenstein in there. No, it's just fucking Japanese. They are really cramming them up my backside and down my throat, both holes. I'm getting finger cuffed by Arrow with these Japanese releases, or these releases of Japanese films. Is wild. I'm not wetting my pants over it. They look like they're probably solid films, but I'm gonna wait for a sale because I just can't get too excited about it. Next, we got Alice, Sweet Alice. This is an inevitable 4K upgrade, and this is like a more in line with the way Arrow does their 4K upgrades. Arrow, of course, released Alice, Sweet Alice on Blu-ray several years ago. I couldn't be arsed to look it up and see what year it was, but let's just say it was 2017, 2018. It was somewhere in that neighborhood. And so now we are getting our 4K upgrade. So, what I tell everybody is if you missed an Arrow release, if you missed the limited edition because you weren't collecting back in 2017 or whatever, what have you, don't fret. And certainly don't pay an inflated eBay price. Don't buy anything for $100 simply because you want to have the limited edition. Just wait. They're going to put it out on 4K. You will have another crack at it. It will be the exact same release, except you'll pay way less for it and you'll get the 4K. So everybody just fucking relax. I'm here, okay? Alice, Sweet Alice is a very interesting looking film. This is another one that I'm interested in checking out. It's an early slasher film, 1976. So this is kind of like pre-Halloween. I know in most discussion, people talk about the slasher genre as really getting its kickstart with Halloween in 78. But it's obvious to anybody who's paying attention and watching these movies that like the slasher film didn't come out of nowhere with Halloween. There were influences leading up to it for decades, even going all the way back to films of the 1930s that had certain elements that would eventually come together to form a slasher film. So I would say that this is probably part of the early, slasher cycle of like true, like legit, like you could probably consider this like a legit slasher film and not like a proto slasher or something like that, like some of these other influential films. So there's a few new special features on here. I think there's one or two new special features on here. So it's a little bit more than just like a, inevitable cash grab 4K upgrade, but I don't know how compelling it would be. It's like I think it's like one new special feature. I think it's like one. So like, you're getting an upgraded format and you're getting one new special feature. I don't know if that's compelling enough for me to go spend 35 bucks on this movie if I already spent 30 bucks on it a couple of years ago. That kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, maybe you could sell the Blu-ray. I see a lot of that at Bull Moose, man. I got to tell you, I like to go. I live in New England. I live in Maine. I have several Bull Moose. I have at least three that I can get to pretty quickly, and I like to go into Bull Moose. But you can tell when Arrow announces a 4K upgrade. I might go into a Bull Moose like a week later, and I'll see like 3 copies of that motherfucker pre-owned. People go in, the 4K gets announced, people take the Blu-ray into Bull Moose and they sell it real quick um, to kind of get some cash back, and then, you know, try to go, buy the movie on 4K. So I guess it's a smart way to do it. Sell that Blu-ray back, get a little cash in your pocket. But this is another one that I'm definitely interested in. Alice, Sweet Alice. It does have a young Brooke Shields in her film debut. This is film debut for Brooke Shields, and we all know, everybody knows who Brooke Shields is. Google her if you don't, and then thank me later in the comments down below. Leave me a thank you once you've Googled Brooke Shields. But don't get too excited about Brooke Shields' appearance in Alice, Sweet Alice, you fucking perverts. She's only 11 in 1976 when this film came out. So don't think that it's going to be, you're going to go home and pound off to Alice, Sweet Alice, because you are going to have to wait until she started putting out movies in the mid 80s. You're going to have to wait till the mid 80s before you start pounding off to Brooke Shields movies, okay? Otherwise, you're going to fucking disgust me. I got 2 daughters, and that's just disgusting. You know what I mean? You can't lust over 11-year-old Brooke Shields and Alice, Sweet Alice, even if she did get wicked hot later in the 80s, you know? So Respect the performance, but please don't be perverted. All right. I have a family. That's nasty. So I'm gonna pick this one up. I'll pick it up on a sale. If I find a good price on this one, I'll pick it up. I'll cop this one when Amazon drops it to 25 bucks or something like that. Boom. That's a no-brainer. So that's it. I mean, that's the Arrow announcements that they made while Vinegar Syndrome was meanwhile selling 12,000 copies of a $45 special edition. Have you guys done the math on that, by the way? 12,000 times 45. It's like $550,000. I mean, that's a pretty good day of sales or 2 days of sales. Like, that's just that one particular title too. That's not doesn't include any of the other units that people might have purchased at the same time because it's like I'm already paying shipping and there's a whole bunch of I got several Fun City Edition movies for $9 each. How are you going to turn that down? So of course it's like add to cart, you know, you're going to wind up getting several things because the deals are good. Vinegar Syndrome made some fucking bank Black Friday weekend. I got to say, Vinegar Syndrome showed up to fuck. And Arrow was all like, we're going to redo Cruising, but we're going to put it in a fancy box this time because the William Friedkin movie, look at us. And again, just like wet lesbian fart, you know, just, you know, that sounds like that. That's to me what a wet lesbian fart sounds like. Just, you know, there's a little juiciness in there, but it's just basically air just going out through some flaps. And there's a little bit of flapping and just, you know. I would honestly feel like a total dick if I was Arrow right now. I feel like a cook, just embarrassed to show up to Black Friday gangbang with such a small peen. You know what I mean? Like I'm just not packing anything, and I gotta fucking stand right next to Vinegar Syndrome, and they got dick like this fucking Sapporo can. You know what I'm saying? Like fucking thick and girthy. But let me know what you think. Disagree with me in the comments if you like. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Peace, motherfuckers.